Hey everyone, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast, and I'm freezing cold right now, and I've got my Alterna beanie on. I look like I don't know what I look like, but I look exactly like it. Anyway, so it's that time of year. I can't believe a year has passed since the last New Year. It's been strange, but I always find it flattering and frightening at the same time that your boy Zach keeps a spreadsheet that has my sales numbers on it. Uh, but what I like about that is I can actually just watch this video that he puts all the effort into and compare myself with competitors, so to speak. And I've been like, seriously, the past 6 months have been really eye opening for me in how I look at publishing comics. So, first off, it's no secret, it's no surprise to me that the vast majority of people that watch my YouTube channel are people that are interested in making comics. And you might actually be making comics yourself. You might be in and making money on comics, or you might be looking at it eventually at some point in time. Or maybe you're just generally interested. You're just a fan. You're buying comic books, and you're just generally interested. But what you're not is probably a young child watching this straight for comic book content because there's so much business talk on this channel. And so this is one of those times where I'm just going to embrace it. That's what I'm talking about. But I think that it is important to put a perspective on things as a business rather than making comic books. And I think that's important to help define yourself and where you sit in the market. And I've been kind of at this threshold where I know a lot of other creators are, and that is, am I a creator that is making comic books and using crowdfunding to make comic books, or am I a business? And the point of the business is to make profit, hire people. Clearly, like, that's the point of a business. And like, you got to grow, that kind of thing. Or is it about getting my creativity out there and I'm going to do it however I can? Obviously, I'm a creative person, and I would not be doing comics if I wasn't. But at the same time, I've got that voice in the back of my head saying, "Hey, you need to treat this a little bit more like a business. Like, you need to take it even more seriously than you are." I was speaking to an entrepreneur that was. I asked him this question of, "How do you know that your business is working? At what point do you know?" And he said, "When you are making money, when you're turning a profit, when every month you can look at your bank account and money has come in and it has come out and you're making more than you are spending." And it seemed really simple, and I felt really stupid for asking that question. But the more that I thought about it, it's like, coming from the world of comic books, it is so easy because it's a labor of love, and you're so used to this, punk rock concept of don't be a sellout. You should be poor, um, and so you're doing it just for the love of it. It's not to be successful. It's not to make money. Um, that it can get really rough. So, is it a hobby or is it a business? Now, hobbies are fantastic. However, what I have been hoping for the past several years has been some kind of business, some kind of lasting business structure that can stand toe to toe with major comic book publishers, put up similar numbers, and demonstrate that the masses of people don't care about the silly narratives that bounce around on comics news sites and on social media. Okay. I'm not sure that we're there yet, but as I posted here in this, my comment here on Zach's video, I said, I think the numbers suggest the market is moving into a phase of maturation. The Wild West doesn't stay wild. Overall, very positive thing. And to elaborate on that just a little bit, uh, if there's a place where you think you can go and pitch your tent and just start making money, at some point there are going to be established forces or forces building establishments that are going to be the safe places to go. Customers want safety. They want reliability. They want to be able to trust where they're getting their comics from, and they want convenience. I mean, you could probably add many things to that list. So as I look at this, here on my particular spreadsheet, I've got a trend line moving upward, which feels nice. When I look at most of these campaigners, you have some that have spikes, like Lady Death, for instance, Brian Polito. His Lady Death series is his #1 seller, and then he's got other series, Muerte or something, whatever, other books that come out that don't make as much. Clearly, still enough. It's worth his time to continue making those, and they're trending upward, but they're just not trending upward at the same height that his other campaigns are. The other half of this story is profitability, and if you look behind the scenes, what you are grossing doesn't always mean that you're netting more, and so you got to factor that in as well. So as I see this, I think, man, I've been at this for what, 3 years, something like that. I've been at this for about 3 years, publishing comic books and putting out books, and I want to be able to do more, to really see where the trends are and where the outliers are. I've done enough now that I think that I think that I'm onto something, my particular angle of looking at it, but I think that there's going to be further changing in the crowdfunded market. I think it's going to become a little bit more like a just indie comics market, and so this is why I want to try at some point to sell a new book, not an old book, a brand new book, on my own website directly to customers. There's a little bit of a risk factor in that, but I think it's worth the effort, if for nothing else than an experiment, to get to know, are we always going to live on crowdfunding forever? Or is there something more that could be done? Is the benefit of having a book finished and ready to ship, like printed and ready to ship, is that high enough that people are going to just go to a website and that the Indiegogo factor doesn't matter? Because ultimately they're looking for an alternative to what the comic book industry is offering. So lots of questions there, obviously, more than answers. But I think it's easy to overlook the kinds of innovations and the interesting things that these different unique creators and publishers are doing. And you have to, again, weigh in, what are their goals? If somebody is intent on being just a creator that uses crowdfunding, then they could be very successful in some cases. If a creator is trying to build something more like a publishing company and do more with that, then they're going to have entirely different metrics to look at and compare. Again, it's just really interesting to look at all of this. Anyway, to essentially sum it up, I think, me personally, I need a few more data points and a little bit more time, but I think the Wild West is over. And I think I said this over a year ago, actually. People were expecting, I was always shocked by this, people were expecting the masses that moved to Indiegogo to back books like Jawbreakers and the first Cyberfrog. They were expecting those numbers to just stick around. Like, all of those people turned to crowdfunding and now they were never going to go back. Of course not. Like, it's so naive to think that people that are so upset over, you can name what it was. For me, it was Mark Waid. It was so upsetting that a comic book pro would try to suppress a book from an indie creator that, I wanted to get on board and support. I think a lot of people were like that. But at some point, there have to be other selling factors, right? You can't possibly expect people to buy books on crowdfunded sites simply because they want to stick it to the man always. Of course, there are going to be those out there. I'll admit I'm one of them much of the time. But ultimately, like, there has to be something else. So as this particular market is maturing, people looking for an alternative because they're fed up with mainstream comics for yada, yada, yada reasons, this alternative, I think, going through a maturing phase is important, and it's very needed. So I'm interested to see that more conventional ways of comic books getting out, more reliable ways, and faster turnaround time. I think that's an issue a lot of people are working on. Anyway, so really appreciate you for watching this video, sort of just thinking through some of these things. But I want to know in the comments below what you think would make the comic book industry mature more. Not the industry. I'm talking about specifically the market of people looking for an alternative to the politically driven comics coming through from the mainstream comic book industry. What does that market need to mature a little bit and to be able to have their needs provided for? That is my question for you. So thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.